chapter highlights the severity of a Puritan people, specifically women. You must have come across such words like petrified, like grim, like rigidity, like iron visaged, وجوههم وكأنها من حديد. So this is how they are described. Now the focus moves to another character, the beadle. Emerging into the sunshine, the grim, look at these words, and the grisly pretense of the town beadle. Beadle يسمونه الشماس, a person in charge in the church who is supposed to do some legal duties based on the teachings of the church. With a sword by his side and his staff of office in his hand. This personage prefigured and represented in his aspect the whole dismal severity of the Puritanic code of law. يمثل code of law of a Puritan system. It was the business to administer in its final and the closest application to the offender. هذا الشخص اللي يقوم بمعاقبة الشخص اللي يقوم ب any kind of offense, أي مخالفة. Now the prison door opens and Hester appears, and this person on the threshold of the prison door, she repelled him. حاول يدفعها ويمشيها. She repelled. She pushes his own hand by an action marked with natural dignity and force of character, and stepped into the open air as if by her own free will. وكأنه هي جاية بدون غصب. She bore in her arms a child, a baby of some 3 months old, who winked and turned aside its little face from the too vivid light of day, because its existence therefore had brought it acquainted only with the grey twilight of a dungeon. لأنه هذا أول ما ولد هذا الطفل كانت محبوسة في a dungeon, زنزانة. So the child was not accustomed to see or be exposed to light. That's why he tried to cover his face from the light. When she stood there, Hester, before the crowd, it seemed to be her first impulse to clasp the infant closely to her bosom, not so much by an impulse. On her breast, شوفوا هنا, on her breast, on the breast of her gown, in fine red cloth surrounded with elaborate embroidery and fantastic flourishes of gold thread, appeared the letter A. يظهر أدنى هذا الحرف. شوفوا description مال الرايتر, how he describes this letter. Fantastic flourishes of gold thread appeared the letter A. It was so artistically done, بطريقة فنية, and with so much fertility and gorgeous luxuriance of fancy that it had all the effect of a last and fitting decoration to the apparel which she wore. This is how the writer describes the letter A. The young woman was told. Now we come to the description of Hester herself. She was tall, figure of a perfect elegance on a large scale. She had dark, abundant hair, glossy through of sunshine, with a gleam, and face which, besides being beautiful from the regularity of a feature and richness of complexion, had the impressiveness belonging to a marked brow and deep black eyes, set in a state of dignity rather than by delicate extravagance, and in indescribable grace which is now recognized as its indication. And never had Hester Prynne appeared more ladylike in the antique interpretation of the term than as she issued from the prison. Those who had before known her and had expected to behold her dimmed and even started to perceive how her beauty shone out, and this clarifies that the writer tries to reveal Hester as a very beautiful and interesting figure. So if we try to draw a simple comparison between Hester and how she is portrayed by Hawthorne with the ladies who were gathered to witness Hester's ignominy or shame. So if you pay attention to the adjectives, there they were hard-featured, petrified, iron-visaged, tough, strong, difficult, while here we have all the romantic and nice touches of adjectives. So here also a reference to the Scarlet letter, fantastically embroidered and illuminated upon her bosom. It had the effect of a spell, وكأنه بتأثير تعويذة, taking her out of the ordinary relations with humanity and enclosing her in a sphere by herself. So now we have an idea about Hester herself, her physical existence. We have an idea about how she looks like in front of other women. Do we like her? Of course, the writer tries to attract our attention, to let us, or to push us to love this lady, even though she has done something wrong later. But are we? This is a question we need to answer later. A reference to her profession, she is a seamstress. She tries to sew. She has good skill at her needle. Normally, she knits gloves and clothes and everything by her own hand. The next page is a continuation for the description of Hester. You can only have an idea about how the writer describes her. What is important is the previous page and the next page. Now Hester stands on a scaffold, المنصة اللي يتم عليها معاقبة المجرمين. Hester Prynne, شوف هذا الشيء اللي underlined. In Hester Prynne's instance, however, as not infrequently in other cases, her sentence, العقوبة مال adultery she committed, sentence كانت عبارة عن she stands on the scaffold with a letter A embroidered with her little baby for a short while, and then she moves and keeps the letter A on her on her bosom for her life, for the rest of her life. She should stand a certain time upon the platform, but without undergoing that grab about the neck and confinement of the head. هذه كانت العقوبة مال هستر. طبعا هنا في هذا الباراجراف see this word divine maternity. The writer here compares Hester with Virgin Mary because she is a symbol of a durability, of strength, of let's say victimization. The writer tries to show her as a victim to the Puritan ideology and the Puritan society. So he compares her with Virgin Mary because there is some similarity. Mary has a baby without a father, and Hester has a baby, and his father is, or her father is still unknown. So the writer evokes such kind of ideas. Page 52. Reference to the culprit, the Hester's partner of her crime, who has never showed up and has never made his name public in front of others where he should be. وفي page 53 أكفت شيء important. It gives us an idea about Hester's past. We need to know where Hester came from, who are her family members, who is her husband, how did she end up in Boston. So these ideals will be presented little by little by the writer. While standing at the scaffold, the writer tries to show to push Hester to remember. She is recollecting, يعني تتذكر بعض details. So if you look at this page, page 53, and this paragraph, the second paragraph. Let me enlarge something here. Okay, I think it's clear. Standing on that miserable eminence, she saw again her native, شوفوا underlined words, native village in Old England. So she came from Old England, يعني بريطانيا. And her paternal home, a decayed house. How her house is described? A decayed house of grey stone with a poverty-stricken aspect. So she belongs to a poor family, but retaining a half-obliterated shield of arms over the portal in token of antique gentle. She saw her father's face. She remembers, yani her father's face, with its bold brow and reverend white beard that flowed over the old-fashioned Elizabethan ruff. Her mother's too, with the look of heedful and anxious love. She saw her own face, glowing with girlish beauty and illuminating all the interior of the dusky mirror in which she had been wont to gaze at. There she beheld another countenance of a man. She also thinks of another thing while she was remembering. Another man seems to be her husband, well stricken in years, yani very old, stricken, a pale, thin, scholar-like visage, يعني وجهه كان واحد مال أستاذ قديم وطاعن في السن, and with eyes dim and blurred by the lamplight because of reading that had severed them to pore over many ponderous books. Yet those seems blurred optics, هاي النظرات وهاي العيون اللي يمتلكها هذا الشخص, had a strange penetrating power when it was their owner's purpose to read the human soul. هذه لها reference to some new ideas that we will discuss later. And this man, Hester's husband, has a kind of a great power by which he can read souls. He can read, or he can penetrate the souls of other human beings. So Hester will be concerned later that when she encounters this person, he might read what she hides in her heart, her partner of shame. So this figure of the study and the cloister, as Hester Prynne's womanly fancy failed not to recall, was slightly deformed with the left shoulder. شلون كان الوصف مالته؟ هيجي كان مشوه. The left shoulder a trifle higher than the right. الكتف مالته